Yeah. What were some, stepping into this role, a lot of times when we're talking about stuff like this, it's like, yeah, and then I stepped in and everything was perfect. And it's really important for everybody that yes and no.
Yes, yes.
So I would love for you to touch a little bit on your own personal journey as far as limiting beliefs that you have had to work on as Katie to be able to fully step into this role that you've been given or that you've accepted.
Yeah. So I really believe that limiting beliefs exist. I believe very much that we carry inside of us a bunch of subconscious stuff that plays itself out until we notice the patterns and we notice the theater, and we stop and say, wait a minute, I have to heal something. So a lot of my conditioning, I would say, coming out of childhood, was around around the danger of being seen, and was around shining too brightly, the danger of shining too brightly. And there were a lot of messages, and then I would say very physical, significant ramifications in my childhood of being seen, shining too brightly. And so for me, I really folded up my essence, my light, into service to others. So I sort of took my light, my natural, I think, goodness and life force, and I made it about making other people happy. And because I was really intuitive, I was awfully good at that. I'm still very good at that. But it certainly, as a kid, in a very kind of unconscious survival way, making people happy, flagging what was happening around me, reducing threats. And remember, like, threats to a kid can just feel like, obviously it can be abuse, but it can also just feel like not being understood, being rejected, being abandoned, being cast aside. So I really learned that when I shined authentically, there were ramifications and punishment for that. And so I had better do something constructive with it, so that I didn't feel so separate. I think that's the most tactful way I can say some of that. And I'm not being tactful because of other people. I'm being tactful about my own boundaries. But this has come out a lot in my work, because the more authentic I am, the more effectively I show up for the people I'm writing or teaching or helping. The more honest and clear I am about myself, the clearer my channel gets. I remember when I got my first significant speaking gig, and I was doing like a 2-day speaking gig for a couple hundred people, and I immediately started having nightmares. Oh goodness, how to say this tactfully. I immediately started having nightmares that someone from my family of origin would come into that space and would kill me. Literally, that was the nightmare. This wasn't happening in my waking life. This was the nightmare. And I'm smart enough, I'm experienced enough to know that that's deep and that's subconscious. And so I started working with one of my coaches and said, I got to get this out of my body before I take that stage. Because there was still clearly a part of me that hadn't resolved. Oh my gosh, when I'm seen authentically, I'm in danger. That was what that dream was telling me. And it was like very physical and very real, that dream. And so I did a lot of guided meditation. I did a lot of deep work. I did a lot of processing. It didn't fully go away. And I think that's normal. Like you can't wait until it's gone. You can't wait until it's healed. But I had enough conscious awareness of, there is still a little kid part of Katie. She's 10 years old and she wears pink pants and a purple shirt. And she is terrified. I know who she is. She's terrified that when she's seen, it literally becomes life or death. Like someone's going to come for her.
Yeah.
And so I did the speaking gig and it went beautifully. And I honored little Katie. And as my best friends know, usually after I get done with a big being seen moment, I have to privately go sob because it healed a part of me. And it did. And so I still work with that to this day. It came up again when I released my first book. I just have to breathe through it. But I have coaches, I have a system. I know what this is about. I don't know if it'll ever go away fully in this lifetime, but I know that I'm aware enough of it and committed to working it through that I'm not going to allow it to prevent me from being who I'm meant to be.
I have like so much I could say.
I know you do.
All of that. But first, I want to bring Shannon back up if you want to read this. I think this is cool.
I love hearing this. It's so confirming, literally. I'm currently reading The Big Leap, which talks about the limiting beliefs or upper limits. Katie, you and I have similar stories for sure. Now I am just starting to step into my natural sensitivities. Also raised a Jehovah's Witness like Sabrina. Oh, Shannon, I'm so proud of you. You know, women, especially those of you who've left these systems that, in my opinion, have attempted to rob you of your life force and your truest essence, there is a coming back to life process that is grueling and raw and profound. And I have so much respect for it. I've journeyed with women coming through this. And it's the work of a lifetime, but you're meant to do it.